Boston's late March wind still carried winter's sting as Madeline Carter stood by the window of her corner office on the 32nd floor. The Charles River gleamed under the gray sky, a sliver of calm against the rush of her daily life. As the founder and CEO of Carter Financial Strategies, Madeline was used to fast-paced negotiations, billion-dollar spreadsheets, and making hard decisions before lunch. What she wasn't used to was the cream-colored envelope that now sat on her desk, ornate, expensive, and embossed with her family crest. She opened it with practiced fingers, but her heart slowed the moment she read the words, "You are cordially invited to the wedding of Lily Carter," and the groom's name was conspicuously missing. Madeline flipped the card over. A handwritten note in her sister's swirly script read, "It's a surprise. You'll find out at the ceremony. You must come. It's a very special day for me. Love, Lily." A tightness grew in Madeline's chest. Of course, Lily would make it about herself. Always the golden child, the spontaneous one. Their father, Howard, had called her the spark, while Madeline was the anchor. Lily was adored for her charm. Madeline was respected for her discipline. Respected, but rarely celebrated. That evening, over a glass of Pinot Noir, Madeline called their mother. "Did you see the invitation?" Martha gushed. "Yes. Isn't it lovely? Lily did everything herself. You're coming, right?" Madeline paused. "I haven't decided. She didn't say who she's marrying." "Oh, that's just her flair for drama. But he's wonderful. You'll like him." Madeline frowned. "Have you met him?" "He's been to family dinners for months," Martha said breezily. "He's practically one of us already." Madeline's heart dropped. "I wasn't invited to any of those." "Oh, sweetheart," her mother said lightly. "You're always so busy." After the call, Madeline stared at the city lights and felt something stir. Resentment, yes, but also curiosity. She marked the date on her calendar and slipped the invitation into her bag. Whatever this wedding was, she needed to see it for herself. St. Paul's Cathedral in Boston stood regal under the first blue sky of spring, its spires reaching proudly toward the sun. Madeline parked her car in the side lot and glanced at herself in the mirror. Her navy-sheath dress hugged her figure with elegance, her chestnut hair swept into a polished chignon. Her makeup was flawless, but beneath the surface her nerves were anything but. It had been years since she last attended a family event, years since she let herself be part of Lily's curated world of curated smiles and casual betrayals. With her clutch in one hand and pride in the other, she walked toward the courtyard. Guests were already gathering, mingling, laughing. Distant cousins she hadn't seen in a decade greeted her with polite surprise, as if unsure whether they should acknowledge her presence or whisper about it later. Her mother, Martha, swept over in a lavender lace gown, beaming. "Madeline, you came! Oh, Lily will be thrilled." Her tone made it sound more like relief than joy. "Where's Dad?" Madeline asked. "With Lily, of course. It's her big day." Then, lowering her voice, "She's nervous, you know. Try not to be too analytical." Madeline forced a smile. "I'll do my best to keep my spreadsheets out of it." As her mother floated away, Madeline checked her phone. 3 new client emails. She tapped the screen off. She wasn't here for work. She was here to understand what this surprise groom nonsense was really about. A church usher approached. "Ms. Carter, we're beginning. This way, please." She followed him into the cathedral, past polished wooden pews and towering stained glass windows glowing with midday light. The aisle was adorned with white lilies and blue delphiniums, out of season, expensive, and exactly Lily. Madeline was seated in the front row next to her father, Howard, who stood to embrace her. "I'm glad you're here," he said, voice lower than usual. "You look beautiful." "Thank you," she replied, sitting stiffly. "Excited for the surprise?" he asked, eyes twinkling. "Let's just say I'm curious." Organ music swelled. The guests stood. The groomsmen filed in, and then, Stepping confidently to the altar came the groom. Madeline's breath caught. She froze, blinking once, then again, as if her vision might betray her. But it didn't. It was Ethan Brooks, her ex-husband. Her ex-husband was standing at the altar, waiting to marry her sister. Howard leaned in, whispering, "Surprise, huh?" She couldn't speak, could barely breathe. Her face flushed as every nerve in her body screamed, but she kept still. She stood with the crowd, silent, composed, watching as her sister, radiant in white, walked down the aisle on her father's arm. Lily's eyes sparkled, not a trace of guilt, just joy. And Ethan, in a sleek black tuxedo, smiled as if this were his first love story, not the continuation of one built on betrayal. Madeline clutched her clutch tighter, digging her nails into the leather. Her heart thundered in her ears. This wasn't a mistake. It wasn't coincidence. It was calculated. And everyone knew. Everyone except her. The grand ballroom of the Four Seasons Boston gleamed with opulence. Crystal chandeliers, floor-to-ceiling windows, and tables dressed in white linen and cascading flowers. Madeline sat at the family table near the front, her champagne untouched, her expression polished and unreadable. Her internal storm raged beneath the surface. Her ex-husband, Ethan Brooks, was now officially married to her sister, Lily. Her parents had welcomed him back into the family without so much as a whisper to her. And here she was, expected to smile and clap and eat salmon under the golden glow of betrayal. The reception buzzed with laughter and music, guests swirling across the marble floors like a well-rehearsed performance. Beside her, Doris Franklin, her mother's chatty best friend, leaned over. "So, dear," Doris began with a knowing look, "how do you feel seeing him again?" Madeline turned slowly. "Excuse me?" Doris chuckled, sipping her wine. "You and Ethan, that was ages ago. But I suppose it must be strange, him being part of the family again, now in a much more permanent way." "Strange," Madeline echoed, voice like cut glass. "Yes, that's one word for it." Doris blinked, clearly missing the sarcasm. "Well, Lily told us all you ended things, that you were never quite present, always buried in work." Madeline's jaw clenched. "That's an interesting story," she said calmly. "Funny how narratives change." Doris prattled on, but Madeline had tuned her out. Her eyes were fixed on Lily and Ethan, seated side by side at the head table. Lily's laughter was high and carefree as she touched Ethan's arm, whispering something in his ear. He smiled, leaned in. A little too familiar, too natural. This wasn't new. This had been going on long before the wedding. And then she saw it, the necklace. Lily wore a delicate diamond pendant nestled at her collarbone. It wasn't just any necklace. It was the exact one Ethan had given Madeline for their second wedding anniversary. Her stomach dropped. Either he had repurposed a gift, or Lily had received it while they were still married. Neither option was better than the other. The microphone squeaked. "And now," the MC announced, "a few words from our beautiful bride." Lily stood glowing under the spotlight, champagne glass in hand. "Thank you all so much for being here today," she began. "I feel incredibly lucky to have married the most amazing man in the world." Her gaze flickered toward Ethan, who smiled proudly. "Brad, you're everything I dreamed of. Loyal, hard-working, patient, and above all, faithful." She lingered on the last word, letting it hang in the air. Some laughed politely. Madeline didn't. She recognized the dig for what it was, a subtle stab, a way to rewrite history while everyone watched. "And now," Lily continued, "I get to call myself Mrs. Brooks, CEO's wife." Her smile widened. "Try not to be too jealous, big sis." Laughter rippled through the room. Madeline smiled tightly, raising her glass in a mock toast. Her mother leaned in. "Oh, that Lily," she said with a small laugh. "She's always had a flair for teasing." But Madeline wasn't listening. She was scanning the room. 5 of her firm's clients were seated just a few tables away. She had invited them as a courtesy when she thought it was just Lily's big day. They didn't know the full story, not yet. After the speech, as guests began to dance, Madeline slipped away from the crowd, her heels echoing as she crossed to the bar. "Martini, dry," she said to the bartender. Before she could take a sip, her father appeared beside her. "You didn't laugh," he said, "during Lily's speech." Madeline raised an eyebrow. "I missed the punchline." Howard sighed. "She was nervous, and you looked cold." "Wouldn't want to ruin her moment," she said, sipping her drink. He studied her. "I hope you're not holding on to the past. That man is your sister's husband now. It's time to let go." "Is that what you think I haven't done?" she asked. "Let go?" "You haven't moved on, Madeline," he said. "You're successful, yes, but alone. Lily's building a life. Maybe it's time you started one, too." Madeline smiled slowly. "Maybe I will." Her voice was calm, but inside something had shifted. Letting go wasn't the issue. It was that she had never been given the truth or the chance to speak it until now. The terrace outside the ballroom was quiet, the city lights of Boston casting a soft glow against the dark sky. Madeline leaned against the railing, sipping the last of her martini. Her heels ached, her jaw hurt from forcing smiles, but her mind was sharper than ever. She had pieced it all together: the affair, the lies, the repurposed gifts, the carefully orchestrated family erasure. She didn't need confirmation, but she would take it anyway. Behind her, she heard the ballroom door creak open. "Mind if I join you?" It was Ethan. His tie was loose, and his tux jacket slightly wrinkled, but his confidence still clung to him like expensive cologne. "It's your night," Madeline said without looking at him. "Do what you want." He stepped beside her, hands in his pockets. "I didn't expect you to come." "Obviously," she replied. "I wasn't exactly included in the planning." "Lily thought it would be awkward," he said, choosing his words carefully. "She wanted to keep the peace." Madeline laughed, dry and low. "Yes, marrying her sister's ex-husband is a great way to promote family unity." He shifted, uneasy. "Madeline, we didn't mean for it to happen that way." "But it did," she said simply. "You could have told me. You could have had the decency to be honest." Ethan looked away. "It was complicated. You and we weren't working. You were always focused on your company, on numbers." She turned to face him. "I built that company while you were figuring out how to fund yours. I paid the rent when you had no income. I stayed up proofreading your pitches. I sacrificed a lot, Ethan. Don't you dare reduce that to being too focused." His mouth opened, then closed. "I didn't plan to fall for Lily." "Of course you didn't," she said. "It was too convenient to plan." She pulled her clutch open and removed a manila envelope. "Do you know what this is?" He shook his head. "A financial review of your company, Brooks Consulting, conducted for a potential client of mine. Seems one of my investors was looking into a joint venture and asked for my opinion. Your books are bleeding, Ethan. You're 3 months behind on office rent. Michael Rosberg has withdrawn his stake. There's talk of litigation." His face drained of color. "That's not public." "Not yet," she said. "But it will be, unless you come clean. With Lily, with my parents, with everyone." "You can't do this. Not today," he pleaded. "She doesn't deserve this on her wedding night." "Neither did I," Madeline said softly. "But that didn't stop you." He stepped forward. "I just need time. I can fix this. I can stabilize things." "I'm not here to destroy you, Ethan," she said. "You did that to yourself. But Lily deserves to know the man she married. You didn't just betray me. You're about to drown her with you." He looked broken now, the bravado slipping from his shoulders. "Please, let me tell her. Let me do it my way." Madeline held his gaze. "Tonight, no more delays, or I'll do it for you." A long silence stretched between them before he nodded. "Thank you," he said, barely audible. "Don't thank me," she replied. "Just be honest for once." At that moment, the door opened again. Lily's voice called out, bright and chirpy. "There you two are!" She slipped onto the terrace, beaming. "What are we talking about?" Madeline's expression shifted instantly. "Business," she said with a smile. "Ethan was telling me about his new ventures. Sounds like you've got your hands full." "He's amazing, isn't he?" Lily said, wrapping her arm around Ethan's. "Come on, I want one last dance before the night ends." Ethan hesitated, then followed her back inside. Madeline remained on the terrace, the city below her still, silent. She had spoken her truth. Now it was his turn. The reception had started to wind down. Many guests had left while the remaining few lingered at their tables, sipping champagne and chatting over dessert. The music softened to a gentle hum. Madeline made her way back inside, the echo of her heels swallowed by the thick carpet. She didn't see Ethan or Lily immediately, but she didn't need to. She knew Ethan was stalling. He would try to run from the confrontation if he could. That was always his way. But not tonight. She scanned the room and spotted Lily speaking with their mother near the dessert table, her white reception gown shimmering under the lights. Madeline approached calmly, her shoulders back. "Lily," she said gently, "can I steal you for a moment?" Lily turned, blinking. "Now?" "It's important," Madeline said, her voice leaving no room for argument. Lily hesitated, then nodded. "Sure, just a minute, Mom." They walked toward the side hallway off the ballroom, where a private lounge area sat empty. It was quiet there, dimly lit and lined with velvet chairs. Madeline motioned for Lily to sit. "What is this about?" Lily asked, trying to keep her voice light. "You're making me nervous." Madeline sat across from her, setting her clutch on the table. "I'm not here to hurt you, Lily, but I can't stay silent anymore. You need to know the truth about Ethan." Lily's brows pulled together. "What are you talking about?" Madeline reached into her clutch and pulled out the manila envelope she had shown Ethan earlier. "This is a financial report on Ethan's company. One of my firm's clients asked me to evaluate it before a potential partnership." She handed it over. Lily took the envelope with uncertainty, then opened it and scanned the first few pages. Her smile faded. "This can't be right." "It is," Madeline said quietly. "He's 3 months behind on rent. One of his major investors has pulled out. There are inconsistencies in the books that raise red flags, legal red flags." Lily looked up, eyes wide. "Why would he lie about this?" Madeline hesitated, then added, "Because this isn't the first time he's lied. He was seeing you while we were still married." Lily's hands trembled. No, he said that didn't start until after." "He told me it was my fault," Madeline said, her voice barely above a whisper. "That I was cold, that I worked too much, but I was working to support us, to support him, while he was spending nights with you." Lily stood, backing away slightly. "Why are you telling me this now? You waited until my wedding night to blow up my life?" "I gave Ethan the chance to tell you," Madeline said calmly. "He promised he would, but I know him, Lily. He won't. He never does. He lets people believe what's easiest for him." Lily pressed the back of her hand to her mouth, pacing. "You think he married me for our family's connections?" "I don't know what he feels," Madeline admitted, "but I know what he's done, and I didn't want you to find out when it's too late, when you're left to pick up the pieces." Lily slumped into a chair. Her veil slid slightly off her hair. She didn't fix it. "I thought I was finally ahead. I thought I'd found someone who saw me, not just as your little sister, not the one who never quite measured up, but as someone worthy." Madeline's voice softened. "You are worthy. You always were. You just believed you needed him to prove it." They sat in silence. Lily looked down at the papers again, then carefully folded them back into the envelope. "What do I do?" she whispered. "That's your choice," Madeline said gently. "But whatever you decide, you won't be alone." Lily looked at her sister then, really looked at her. The envy, the competition, the resentment, they were still there, but dulled now. In their place was something else, understanding. "Thank you," she said, and for the first time that night, her voice cracked. The next morning, a crisp Sunday in Boston, Madeline sat by her living room window sipping coffee, her phone face down on the table. She had barely slept. Though the wedding had ended without a dramatic announcement, the truth had been planted like a seed, quiet, steady, and irreversible. She didn't expect to hear from Lily right away, but at 8:14 a.m., her phone buzzed. It was a text. "Can we talk? Just us. Please." Madeline replied instantly. "Of course. My place?" 30 minutes later, Lily arrived dressed in jeans, sneakers, and a Harvard hoodie from their college days. Her face was pale, her hair in a loose ponytail. She looked nothing like the radiant bride from last night. Madeline welcomed her in, offering a seat and pouring fresh coffee without speaking. Lily took it, held the mug between her hands, and stared at it for a long moment before finally whispering, "I left him." Madeline blinked. "Already?" "I confronted him last night after the guests were gone," Lily said, her voice calm but brittle. "He denied everything at first. Then he tried to spin it, said he was under pressure, that it wasn't really an affair, that you and he were done long before anything happened." Madeline nodded slowly, unsurprised. "Did you believe him?" "No," Lily answered, "because when I asked him to show me his bank statements and company files, he got angry, defensive, and when I asked why he gave me the same necklace he once gave you, he had no answer at all." Silence settled between them like fog. Madeline reached across the table and placed a hand gently on her sister's. "I'm sorry," she said, "for all of it, for not telling you sooner, for not being the kind of sister who warned you when she should have." Lily shook her head. "Number you did what you could, and last night I saw everything clearly for the first time." Her voice wavered. "It was never about Ethan. It was about proving something to myself, to the family, that I could have what you had, that I could be admired, chosen." Madeline's heart ached. "You were always enough, Lily. You just didn't see it." Lily gave a quiet, tearful laugh. "Well, I see it now, and I've already called a lawyer. I want an annulment. No settlements, no delay. I'll handle the press if it comes up, but I'm done living in someone else's story." Madeline stood and hugged her tightly. For the first time in years, the embrace felt genuine, not performative, not obligatory, just two sisters finally starting to understand each other. 6 weeks later, the warm blush of spring had begun to settle across Boston, softening the harsh angles of the city. Trees along the Charles River bloomed in pink and white, and the air no longer bit at the skin. Madeline stood in her firm's new downtown office, surveying the open-plan layout and watching her staff work with purpose. Business had surged after the wedding, not because of what happened, but because of how she handled it. Clients respected her integrity, and a few even confided that they had once doubted her toughness. Now, no one did. But today wasn't about business. It was about Lily. Madeline glanced at the clock, 4:57 p.m., and smiled as the elevator chimed. Lily stepped out, holding a canvas tote and looking more like herself than Madeline had seen in years. No makeup, no designer brands, just jeans, a navy cardigan, and clarity in her eyes. "I made it," Lily said, setting the tote on Madeline's desk. "Still not used to rush hour when you're not chauffeured everywhere." Madeline chuckled. "Welcome to the real world." Lily pulled out a few sketch pads and samples of interior designs. She had recently begun an internship at a small but reputable design firm, her first job that didn't involve the family name or Ethan's connections. "I wanted your opinion on these," Lily said, spreading out the sketches. "We're pitching for a boutique hotel in Beacon Hill, and they actually want my input." "These are good," Madeline said, genuinely impressed. "Clean, elegant, a real sense of space." Lily beamed, then looked away shyly. "I still feel like I'm pretending half the time, like I'm just a girl who used to be someone's wife and is now trying not to drown." "You're not pretending," Madeline said. "You're doing. There's a difference." Lily nodded slowly, blinking fast. It means a lot, coming from you. The tension that had once defined their relationship, competition, comparison, constant emotional warfare, had begun to dissolve. It hadn't vanished, but it had cracked enough to let light in. "Are you happy?" Lily asked cautiously. Madeline paused, then smiled. "I am. I didn't think I would be after everything, but turns out truth has a funny way of healing what silence breaks." Lily looked around the office, then back at her sister. "Thanks for not giving up on me." "We're sisters," Madeline said simply. "We fight, we fall, but we don't disappear." The sun dipped low over Boston as Madeline adjusted the champagne glasses on her apartment's balcony table. The soft clink of silverware and faint scent of roasted lemon chicken drifted from the open kitchen. Tonight wasn't a formal event, but it meant more than most. It was the first time in years her family would sit together again, not at a wedding, not at a stage celebration, but at a table built on new beginnings. The doorbell rang. She opened it to find Lily holding a small bouquet of daisies and their parents standing behind her. Martha's eyes darted around, searching for tension, but found none. Howard looked older than Madeline remembered, but when he hugged her, it was with a quiet sincerity. "Thank you for inviting us," he said. "Of course," Madeline replied. "Let's eat." Over dinner, the conversation stayed light. Work updates, funny mishaps, even a few shared jokes. It wasn't perfect. There were pauses, moments where memory threatened to sneak in, but each time they chose presence over the past. When dessert was served, Lily reached across the table, fingers brushing Madeline's. "This is the first time I felt like myself in years," she said softly. "Not someone's shadow or proof of success, just me." Madeline nodded, her voice warm. "That's all you ever needed to be." Their parents stayed silent for a beat, then Howard cleared his throat. "We were wrong," he said, "about many things, and I hope this is the beginning of fixing that." Martha added, "We should have seen you both more clearly." Madeline didn't need grand apologies, just this moment, this honesty, and she knew healing had begun. Later, as the night drew in and the city sparkled around them, Lily stood beside Madeline on the balcony, arms wrapped around herself. "Do you ever think about what might have happened if the truth hadn't come out?" she asked. Madeline looked out at the skyline. "Sometimes, but mostly, I think about what did happen and how it set us free." Lily smiled, then said quietly, "I'm glad you didn't stay silent." "Me too," Madeline replied. "Some truths don't destroy, they rebuild." Madeline Brooks's journey teaches us a profound lesson about dignity, truth, and the quiet strength of self-respect. In a world where betrayal often hides behind polite smiles and appearances, Madeline chose not to shout, not to seek revenge, but to stand in her truth. When her ex-husband married her younger sister, and the family seemed to erase her pain in favor of a picture-perfect wedding, Madeline did not crumble. Instead, she showed grace under fire, and more importantly, she chose honesty over silence. For older adults, especially those who have lived through family divisions, disappointments, or personal losses, Madeline's story reminds us it's never too late to reclaim your narrative. Truth has power, but only when spoken with purpose, not anger. Her courage helped her sister Lily wake up to her own worth, and it eventually opened the door for healing within the family. That kind of transformation doesn't happen through confrontation. It happens through clarity, patience, and moral strength. In life, we are often told to move on from the past. But Madeline shows us that true healing comes not from forgetting, but from facing things with compassion and firm boundaries. We don't always get apologies, but we can choose how we carry our truth forward. Have you ever chosen silence when you should have spoken up, or spoken out when it mattered most? Share your experience in the comments. Your story may inspire someone else, like if Madeline's strength moved you. Share this video with someone navigating difficult family truths. Don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell. You won't want to miss the next heartfelt story that speaks directly to the soul.